Welcome to this week's episode of the Women's Soccer Show. My name's Helen.
My name's Sarah.
Sarah, I have rejected you back to not doing the introductions after last time. Sorry, didn't make the cut.
Wow. I don't think it was last time. I think it was the time before, actually.
Oh, really? If I just...
Yeah, you could have just swept it under the rug. I literally didn't even realize I was relegated again.
Yeah, I thought about it. I went to the audition panel with it. They were like, no.
I don't know. I think this might be a Twitter poll because I think that I actually crushed it.
I crushed it.
I think I've won the majority of our Twitter polls, by the way.
I think you have. That's why I'm not up for the idea of you doing another one. Can I just say, you taught me something new last week that I use all the time now. You said during one of our, match reviews, you went, woof, over something. And I love it. And I've started just going to, my wife earlier, I was, doing the barbecue outside. And she was like, it is hot. And I went, woof. And she was like, sorry, what? And I was like, woof. She's like, what was that? It's like, Sarah taught me a new thing, a new phrase.
It's not even an Americanism. That's just something that is for some reason in my vocabulary. If something's really rough, you're just like, woof.
I thought that this was something that was an American thing that I was just sort of bringing to the UK, but no.
I shouldn't have told you.
And there's another thing I wanted to quickly raise, which is absolutely hilarious. So just today, because we're recording now Sunday night, we got a tweet earlier that absolutely cracks me up. Somebody is still going on about damp squib. Remember when I said damp squib? So somebody from America has said, current household debate, was that dump squib or dump skid? And then they didn't tag me, Helen Hardy. They tagged Helen Ward, the Wales player.
Oh, that's amazing. Tell me Helen Ward responded
she
too.
Did. So I've gone back and said, as Helen, I feel quite bad that you've dragged Helen Ward into the damp squib debate. And then I was like, surely this is worse or as bad as Sarah not knowing what a quid was. And I've not got anything back on that. So Helen Ward's written back saying, I'm so confused here, but I hope you've worked out whatever it was that was troubling you. It cracks me up.
To whoever posted that tweet, I hope you've worked it out. I also don't know really I still couldn't tell you if it's damp squid or damp squid.
It's squib with a B.
With a B, okay.
Oh,
I don't think it's bad that I didn't know that. It is bad that I didn't know what a quib.
I can't work in these circumstances. I really can't. It's just not acceptable.
Oh, I mean, it's in both of them. It's is it a B or is it a D? And is it different for each one. It's a quid.
It is. That was right. You're nailing it.
Let's just move on.
We'll be getting more Twitter complaints about the fact that the show hasn't started until minute 5 again.
Yeah, can we just move into something that I can actually speak about rather than a quib?
Good, really good little segue there, because we have news.
We have news? Helen, tell us what it is.
You tell us. I'm too excited.
Okay, yeah, Helen is too excited. I was on the phone with her earlier this morning, and it was trying to control a 4-year-old's stream of consciousness thoughts.
That is actually a really good way of putting it.
I was just I'll just let her go, just let her run, and then we'll reel it in slowly. We have really big news that I'm very excited to announce, and I'm just trying to think through the time in the day, because by the time whoever you are listening to this, the news is already up on social media. I just feel weird announcing it here right now because it's Sunday our time, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it feels naughty. Oh.
It feels naughty.
Naughty.
Real quick, where would that British accent be from?
Nowhere in Britain.
Oh.
Naughty. Maybe London.
Okay. We have some fantastic news. We are partnering with Total Football Analysis, which is a fantastic company that provides match analysis, player analysis, manager, head coach analysis, recruitment analysis, set piece analysis, basically any statistics that you want to analyze a game in any form, they provide it for you. and it's an absolutely fantastic way to really dig into the details of each game. So we are officially announcing our partnership with Total Football Analysis that we are really pumped about.
And which is really handy because also we get to utilize the analysis to be able to give you better analysis, and then our show is better. So yes, we're pumped about it. And also on top of it all, later in this show there will be an advert that we pop in, which you'll be hearing a lot of because it'll be in every show. And in it you will hear a discount code.
You'll have to excuse us, everybody. We're so excited that our brain is kind of short-circuiting right now.
When they told us the discount code they were going to offer to the women's football community, I was like, oh my God, I am so proud and excited to be able to offer this because it's for a year's subscription and they're giving it to you for €10. Sorry, it's in euros. I think it's a company that's based in Europe. So
that's all right. It can't be more than $15. So
it's not no more than $15. Thank you so much, Sarah.
I'm doing the conversion right now. It's $12. Look at that.
$12 for a year's subscription. So listen to the advert and you will get the code from that and enjoy as much as we're going to. Should we get on with the show?
So we've been talking a lot of international soccer, specifically last week, and we are going to get to talk a little bit more international soccer this week, as well as highlight some WSL games, because the WSL came back today, woot woot. But before we get into the WSL, we are going to rewind to Wednesday, which feels like, frankly, forever ago, and talk through She Believes, the final 2 games of She Believes, what each of those teams took out of it, and then we're going to get into Germany and the Netherlands, which also happened on Wednesday. Wednesday was a big day for international women's soccer. So I'm pretty pumped. These were all really fantastic games and fun to watch, and we got international soccer, so let's get into it.
So obviously the big thing is USA won the She Believes Cup, not a huge surprise. But the USA versus Argentina game, first question for you really, were you massively surprised by the amount of goals that USA won by? What did you think of the performance?
I don't think I was surprised at all by the scoreline or by the performance. I was really happy to see a few people get some starts. Christy Mewis got a start. I was really excited about that. Jane Campbell got her first start. That was fantastic. We also got to see Tierna Davidson start at center back, which we haven't seen in a while. So I was really excited about that. Frankly, the result wasn't too much of a surprise. To run quickly through the goals, Rapinoe got 2. Lloyd got the 3rd with an assist from Christy Mewis, who then followed up with a 4th goal. Christy Mewis had that 4th goal. Alex Morgan scored the 5th goal, and that was actually her first goal since the Women's World Cup in 2019. It's her 35th goal in 45 appearances, which is fantastic. And that goal specifically actually put her in 5th place of the all-time leading scoring list for the United States. So that's pretty cool. And then Kristen Press finished it off with a 6, and that scoreline ended up being 6-0. It wasn't too much of a surprise. I think it was what we all thought it was going to be, and disappointing for Argentina, but I think overall just great for them to play against such strong competition in this tournament.
I think we're going to get onto in a minute what the teams took away from the tournament. So we're not ignoring Argentina. Fantastic win for the USA, kind of expected, and a really big learning curve for Argentina. Now on to a kind of more of a shocking game. We spoke last week about how we were super excited for this game, how we expected it to be a really tight battle. If Canada came out like they played against the USA the week before, then we were going to see fireworks. If Brazil had kind of continued on some of the good form that they'd shown across the tournament, there was going to be fireworks. What did you make of 2-0 Brazil win, comfortable? What did you make of it all?
Surprising.
You were angry. I was like not in the place mentally to be receiving the text messages I was getting from Sarah. Considering you're an American, you were so furious for the Canadians.
And this is the first time I'm hearing that you were not in the mental space to receive these text messages, and I was just angrily texting away to
I was
you.
like, oh, I leave it till on air just to be like, by the way, I was super pissed off at you for sending me the... No, I'm joking.
I was just really disappointed in the Canadian national team in their performance in this game. I thought that their decision-making was really terrible, for lack of a better word. Like, I'm not even going to try to sugarcoat it. It wasn't a breakdown in their defense. It was, in my opinion, their decision-making, and it just was not a good game for them. Brazil came out really strong. I think Brazil, out of everybody, I mean, obviously the U.S. had a great upward trajectory in the tournament, but part of that is because of how their games were structured. Brazil's upward trajectory within this tournament alone was really fantastic, and it was great to see them play in their style and start to really get the hang of these short combination passes. But yeah, overall, fun game, not as competitive as I thought it was going to be, and frankly, a disappointing result for Canada in the end.
Can I just quote you?
Oh, sure.
Decision making. It's shit, shit, shit. I'm yelling at the TV. It's just shit. This is all over. I said, that's so bad considering how well they did against the USA. You could have had a really, really awesome tournament after that. I wonder if the nature of that loss really pulled them down. You said, it's like they burned out after that game. Is it mental or physical or both? I just don't know. Helen. But specifically decision-making, this game has been awful. 3 players have been running and playing with urgency, and otherwise it's lax. Oh, God. And then you said, I haven't been this mad at a team in so long.
Yeah, I think that really sums it up. I don't think I need to add on to that at all.
So, the 4 teams in this tournament, Brazil, Canada, USA, Argentina. Let's go through them. What will they have taken away from this tournament? Let's go with Brazil first of all.
Brazil, I just mentioned, they're really on the up and up. They had a fantastic trajectory throughout this tournament. What was really great to see them do and kind of hone in on is their offensive style of play. They're not the team that's going to be swinging the ball, long passes across the field. When you watch Brazil play, they'll have 4 or 5 players in a pretty small space, and they'll look to combine 1, 2, 3 quick touches and then play that quick through ball. And that's classic Brazilian soccer, and it's so fun to watch them play. So I really think that their takeaway is just to continue focusing on that.
Yeah, definitely. I've just mentioned them, but Canada, what do you reckon?
See my text messages for what I reckon. I don't know what it is. Is it mental? Is it physical? And by physical, I mean, is it fitness? I don't actually think it is fitness. So maybe hindsight is 2020. Maybe this is a mental game for Canada. This was essentially a group stage of a tournament. And the mental focus that you need for the group stage of a tournament is very different than that needed in a regular season play in a league. And maybe that is really what let them down, because they played their best soccer against the best team in this tournament, which can only lead me to believe that it is mental. What do you think, Helen?
All I'll say about Canada, obviously, it's essentially a new team coming to this tournament, and this was their first opportunity under a new coach to really try out a new style of football. What's really sad going away from it is if we'd reordered the games and the America game had been last, I think they'd be delighted with this tournament. They'd be like, oh God, really some awful results, but they're friendlies, it is what it is. But then we've obviously learned something, because that USA game really showed what we can do, what we're capable of. The saddest thing is that it's the other way around, is that they showed in the first game what they're capable of, and then it kind of became a bit of a damp squib after that. Your point about decision making, I think, is key. I think if they can go away and really work on the decision making and continue to have that confidence on the ball that they had against the USA, I think that the only way is up, really, from now. And then I'll hand it over to you, because I know you like talking about them. USA, what do you think they'll take away from this tornado?
I think we already really touched on it, but poor Vlatko, he's going to have some really hard decisions. I think my massive takeaway is, if you haven't cemented Christy Mewis in the roster by now, this is the moment to do so. She has done nothing but prove herself over and over and over again, and that last game is kind of like the final indication of it for me. I really enjoyed seeing Tierna Davidson at center back. That was something new that I got to take out of this tournament. Maybe a dark horse in this Olympic roster, since you do need versatile players. But overall, I think the takeaway for the U.S. is we're not there yet. There's a lot of work to do, and this is not the best that they can play. And I'm going to throw it over to you for Argentina.
I think Argentina will, on the whole, take away a load of positives from this tournament. They'll need to work a lot on their organisation, I think, defensively in particular. But I think it was a massive opportunity. They flew up to play in a tournament against 3 teams which are in the top 10 in the world, and they're nowhere near that. And they really came out and gave it their all. And that sounds really patronising, because that's actually really unfair, because there was actually real moments of quality, especially against Canada.
I don't think that's necessarily patronising. I just think that it's realistic that they're not at the level of the other teams yet.
How are they going to get to that level? By playing those teams. But yeah, I think out of all of the teams, Argentina are going to take the most forward movements from it, or the most sort of momentum from it. And I think that's really exciting for them. Another international clash that happened in the last week, and we did mention it last week that we were going to talk about it, is Germany versus the Netherlands. So Germany currently ranked number 2 in the world, the Netherlands ranked number 4 in the world. So of all the sort of games happening in the last week, this is probably the one.
Yeah, we had mentioned that we were going to try to post some streams. Unfortunately, we couldn't find any, so I'm sorry. If you were able to watch this live, that's fantastic. I was actually able to watch it on a replay on YouTube, so we can repost that.
Yeah, there's 2 replays on YouTube. Like, one a 50-minute version, 5-0. One is the entire game. That's pretty darn good. So, yeah, go check it out.
This was fun, fast soccer. It was really great to watch. So, the Netherlands' previous game was a 6-1 win against Belgium. Before that, they had that 2-0 loss to the USA, where they did not look very strong. Germany's previous game was also to Belgium. They won 2-0. And prior to that, Germany actually hadn't played an international match, since 2019. So this is their second match back. In all, it was a 2-1 win to the Netherlands. The first goal came in minute 16. Jackie Gronin with an assist from Vivian Miedema. Oh my goodness, was this pretty.
Of course.
She made a run down the right side of the box, crossed it in one touch towards the penalty spot. This was a no-look pass. This was either I'm just going to take a shot and pass it backwards towards the penalty spot because that's what I know I should be doing, or these two have played together enough that they know where each other are going to be. But either way, this was a beautiful pass from Vivian Miedema. One touch back towards the penalty spot, no look. Jackie Gronin streaking in down the middle. Right there, makes the perfect run and hammers it home. The second goal came from Germany to tie it up 1-1, and it was just before the end of the first half. It came in the 44th minute off of a throw-in. Svenja Huth got a cross from the right side, right across the face of the goal, and Laura Fragang is making an unmarked run down the center, puts it away. So we go into halftime with a 1-1 tie, and then the last goal belonged to the Netherlands, rightfully so, as Martens took control of the bouncing ball in the midfield and played a through ball to split Germany's center back and left back, which is actually a theme throughout this game that we'll get into, leaving Roord and Van de Donk unmarked, racing up the field together. No good things are going to happen for Germany when those two are left unmarked. Roord took a beautiful shot. It was deflected by the goalkeeper and then came off the crossbar, and Van de Donk was there to put it away with her head. Frankly, at the end of the day, this 2-1 scoreline was not an indication, in my opinion, of how the game actually went. I really thought that the Netherlands looked really strong and dominant. Mm-hmm. The 1-1 scoreline at halftime was very misleading. The Netherlands had control of that first half the entire time. They had the ball, they had all of the chances, and Germany essentially only really got it together within the last 5 minutes of the half. So overall, great game. Helen, I want to pass off to you to talk through maybe what you saw from the Netherlands.
I feel like the Netherlands in world football are underestimated. I don't think, for me, it's an argument that they're the second best team in the world. For me, it's just like evidently the case. They obviously made it to World Cup final. They comfortably won the Euros. I actually, and I know some people know this story, I actually flew out to Holland because I was so confident that England would get to the final. I landed, turned my phone on, and the Netherlands had just beaten England. We were knocked out, and I was just stood there in an England shirt.
This is the most classic English football fan story I've ever heard in my life.
Anyway, I wore orange, I painted my face, I went to the final anyway and had the best time. And Netherlands absolutely just they're just class all over the pitch. And I think that they're massively underestimated. Obviously, you've got, the Arsenal crew in there.
Yeah.
But then you've also got Leon players, you've got Van der Sanden and players like that just kind of have that experience in cup finals.
Mm-hmm. I think you nailed it. They have such a beautiful mix of veteran and young talent on that team.
Totally.
So the Netherlands' last competitive game was their 2-0 loss to the US, in which they did not look good. They come out now against Germany, and they look like a completely different side. So what do you think happened in between then and now? Because it has not been that much time.
It's odd as well, because obviously Serena Wagman's leaving them. Mm-hmm. So she either wants to win something before she leaves, and they're all on board with that, or they're already starting to bring in a new mentality that they can take forward after she's gone. Also, Germany have really been falling off for a long time. They didn't have a great World Cup, and although they comfortably toss aside teams like Phil Neville's England, they're not the team that they used to be. They're not the team that won the World Cup. This is a completely different squad.
Yeah, I completely agree. And with the Netherlands, it very much just could be a matter of they just didn't have their feet under them. That friendly against the US was one of their first games back together, and this was their third game back together. So it really could just be as simple as that. Well, let's talk about Germany for a moment. I was surprised in a very negative way. I guess you could equate it to the surprise that I had with Canada, and I was very surprised to watch Germany play as they did. Their defense was all over the place in every single way. I don't want to specifically talk about their back line for a moment, because in every single part of that game, if you pause the television or YouTube, wherever you're watching this on, you'll see their back line stretched really wide across the entire field. The back line should be moving as a unit. So if the ball is all the way on the right side, you need to have your entire back line shifted across the field, and you can leave that right channel open. That is basic soccer. And we saw Germany's back line stretched all the way sideline to sideline, leaving massive gaps in between the outside backs, in between the center backs, and in between, obviously, the other outside center back. And the Netherlands was able to exploit that. Beyond that, Germany was unorganized between their lines. So a lot of times we saw them trying to high press the Netherlands when the Netherlands had the ball back in their defensive third. And we saw the striker, the number 9 for Germany, release, and nobody was following her. When that striker releases, the other lines need to step up. Otherwise, what happens is that it creates a massive gap in the middle of the pitch for the Netherlands to exploit, which is also exactly what happened. So overall, poor defensive shape and organization on Germany's end, and I was frankly surprised that the Netherlands only put 2 away. I don't think that scoreline was indicative of the game. I will say Germany did step it up in the second half, but still a lot of disorganization. And now I want to move on to England's first international game in a very long time. So I'll throw it over to you, Helen. They played Northern Ireland. Give us a recap, and what did you think?
We'll just keep this one brief, to be honest, because I think most England fans will agree with me here. An expected result. I think I was talking to my friend and said, so what are you expecting? I said, put it this way, if we concede, I'll be absolutely gutted. If we win 9-1, I'll be absolutely gutted. Yep. It was that sort of game. And so it wasn't much out of the ordinary from what I was expecting. I think if anything, Northern Ireland at times should be really disappointed, because they did have moments where they gained back possession and then they just kind of wasted it because they just booted it up the pitch. And there was a few isolated figures at the Northern Ireland end of the pitch, unfortunately. They had some good passages of possession, England, some good triangles, good pieces of play, but kind of what you'd expect for playing a team that's so at such a different stage of their development. Mm-hmm. I would have liked to see them take more of their chances. However, as an England fan, going back to my England fanness, it was lush seeing them back in action. Mm-hmm. It was lush seeing them as a team unit. I also, before you talk about Christy Mewis, I was thinking, I bet Rachel Daly landed and they were both like, psych, because they both had such a good game. Obviously, Daly got her goal and she started on the right wing, which I was so buzzing about. So I bet they're both having a little glass of champagne together tonight. So yeah, that stuff's really nice as an England fan. And then the only other real thing to talk about, and I bet everyone's expecting me to talk about it because I'm a ranting bitch.
Are you going to talk about Lucy Bronze again?
No, I'm not going to mention Lucy Bronze. She was the player of the match.
Wow, the first episode where Helen doesn't mention Lucy Bronze.
Well, I've just done it
now. It's okay. You've tallied one for knocking Phil Neville somehow. Even though he has nothing to do with anything we're talking about, you still knocked him, so...
Yeah, obviously Lucy Bronze had a worldie, player of the match, and deserved. She was, yet again, rock solid. What I was going to say was, so disappointing to see the quality of camera footage. One camera blowing in the wind. People were talking about feeling dizzy. Genuinely felt dizzy watching the game because it was like recording it on a mobile phone. My mate was like, mate, we record our games for Sunday League and the quality is better than this. Yeah. The commentary... The sound quality was bad. The commentary was fine, by the way, but the sound quality of the commentary was bad. The quality of that daytime footage was bad. And then also in the UK, there's a red button and you can press it to watch not the live TV channel, but it's kind of takes you onto the internet version of that TV channel. And it was on the red button. So it's not on terrestrial television, if that makes sense. It's you have to click onto a button to go onto a different page to watch it and it's it's bloody 2:00 on a Monday, or 12 o'clock on a Monday or whatever it was, Tuesday, whatever it was. Surely we can get the main TV channel for, Tuesday daytime TV. And then it just feels like, okay, so when the ratings come out and it's like 500,000 people and everyone going to sit around a table and go, right, women's football, not worth it. 500,000 people watched it. And, you know, the men get 15 million people. And then not actually look at the minutiae of it, which is you played it in the daytime. The quality was so bad. It was literally unwatchable at times. Someone joked and said, did like No Signal just get a goal? Because basically the screen went blank at one point and then it went all coloury and fuzzy and it said No Signal and then we scored literally from that, and like it came back on. It was just the quality. It's embarrassing.
It's really upsetting. Yeah, I mean, what you're talking about is the cycle of if you invest, you will see the results, and there's no investment, so you can't expect anything to change.
Exactly.
If that's the quality that you're putting out, you can't expect you can't expect your numbers to go up. It's ridiculous.
And then they'll use that and they'll like sort of say from that, you know, it doesn't warrant funding or it doesn't warrant whatever. So the only way they were ever going to know if women's football is valuable or has commercial value, like has a commercial value, is if we actually put it on at 7:30 p.m. on a Wednesday instead of Coronation Street, and every British person will know what I'm talking about because that's what they used to do in the old days. They used to stop Coronation Street to put on men's football. My mum would go, this is ridiculous, this. Coronation Street's not on tonight because of that bloody football. So my mum would be devastated, but they should put it on main primetime TV.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I agree it should be on primetime TV.
5 steps forward, 2 steps back. That's the notes that I've written down. I think it's an absolute embarrassment, and that's all I have to say about that. We'll come back after this short advert break. How cool is that?
Have you checked out Total Football Analysis yet? TotalFootballAnalysis.com provides researched analysis on loads of football games, including women's football. Want to know why Miedemar scores so many goals? Do you want to explore how City have turned it around this season? Head over to TotalFootballAnalysis.com and sign up to learn more about the beautiful game. We have a special discount for listeners of the Women's Soccer Show. At checkout, type WOSO10 to get a full year for €10. That's €40 off the yearly subscription. Head over to TotalFootballAnalysis.com and type WOSO10 at checkout.
Welcome back from that wonderful advertisement for the first time. Welcome back, everybody. How was it? I hope you enjoyed your experience.
Get your popcorn out, kids.
So we also just want to highlight that we will be doing an episode on Patreon this coming week. We'll be diving into Canada and their national team and what happened, because I was really frustrated and want to talk to a Canadian national team fan and really get into the nitty-gritty details of it and figure it all out. So we'll be putting that out on Patreon. You can find that and subscribe at www.patreon.com/The Wosho Show.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't just go to Patreon and just sit on the homepage. Let's go around the world, around the world. This is a short around the world this week. PSG remain top of the Division 1 with a comfortable 4-0 win against Issy. Lyon are hot on their tails, though, with a 2-0 win against Soyo Chorente. They're 1 point apart in the league and due to play one another on the 13th of March.
So excited. We've been waiting for this.
How many times do we want to say 13th of March, PSG versus Lyon? That is 100% going to be our highlight of the week.
I'm pretty sure that we've said that every single episode in every single around the world. It's just come back to that.
On the 13th of March, we are going to make such a scene on our socials about this game because it's the biggest fixture probably in like league football. It's like the Chelsea-Manchester City in April. Like, this is what we're talking. This is going to be for the title, essentially. Yeah, so that's France. How about you, Sarah? What are you telling me about this week?
Real Madrid lost 3-1 today. It has been a bad few weeks for them. 2 losses and a draw in 5 games sees them fall into 4th place in the Primera División. You're going to be blown away, but Barcelona won again. That's 17 out of 17 for the Catalonia Giants. Boy, are we excited to watch them in the Champions League. That is going to be fun.
I'm putting this out there. You heard it here first.
You've already said it. What you're going to say, you've already said it. You're going to say they're going to win the Champions League? You already said it. You said it last week.
Did I?
Move on.
So I am covered some of the other big moments of the week in the 10-minute news update, including amazing news about South Sudan, who've introduced a women's league, which is literally groundbreaking for so many reasons.
That's absolutely incredible.
I can't, like, when I heard the news, I was like, the world is changing. We are going in a direction where women will have some form of equality.
So that 10-minute news segment dropped yesterday on Monday. So go check that out. Helen chats all about it in that 10-minute news segment.
And now we're going to head over to the WSL.
All right. So Sunday scorelines. We came back not with a bang for the WSL, but we did come back with a few fixtures in the WSL.
With a damp squib.
With a damp squib, darling. I keep trying to make darling work, and it's not for me.
It's not for you. You're trying. And I like a trier. I like it. There's only 3 matches this weekend in the WSL, so we are slowly getting there back into WSL action. They've got a lot of catching up to do. Like, I keep thinking about all these games that are being cancelled. I thought today might be full on to bring back some fixtures. Anyway, Aston Villa versus Arsenal. You watched that game. 4-0 to Arsenal. What did you make?
You know what? After waking up 3 times early in the morning to watch that game and it not happening, I woke up and I watched that game, baby.
Like, I am making this happen. Imagine they'd be like, cancelled, sorry.
I would have taken my computer, thrown it across the room. I'm done. Yeah, 4-1 to Arsenal. Finally got to see this game. So the first half, Arsenal was really controlling the game. They had possession. They were looking really great, except they were missing that final piece of that final pass in the attacking third. They were essentially possessing it in the attacking third around the 18, but they couldn't find that final pass into the box to get that shot off. And that's pretty much the story of the first half. They came out in the second half really strong, and essentially once they got one, the rest fell right into place. They figured it out. So Miedema, Nobbs, McCabe, and Evans all put goals away in the second half. All of them were class goals. Definitely go watch the highlights. Fantastic goals to see. In the end, it was fantastic to see Arsenal really put away some goals. It's been a moment since we've seen them really look like the Arsenal that we know them to be. And I think that that's what this second half looked like. So it was a really great note to end on for them. And hopefully they can ride that into the rest of the season, into the end of the season.
I mean, it's not over until it's over, is it? So Arsenal will be focusing now on making sure they get 3 points every single week. Without fail, there is not a point that can be dropped now for them if they want to get into those European spots. And Manchester City played Birmingham City, unsurprisingly 4-0 to Manchester City. However, surprisingly, it did take them quite a long time to like get their rhythm in the game. 1-0 at half time. City came out strong second half, and it was just bish bash bosh. Lovely Sam Ewis, love to see her back.
So fun to see her back.
Lauren Hemp, who's absolutely on fire at the moment. And what's great about her being on fire is that this is the 3rd week in a row that I've been able to say, go over to justgiving.com/wearefowdies and make sure that you donate £5. There's still a couple of weeks left of this competition, and you could win a signed Lauren Hemp jersey. Signed.
It's a win-win. You get to do good and donate, and you potentially get to win a Lauren Hemp jersey. Signed.
Exactly. The money goes to East Anglia Children's Hospital. Like, literally, what is the harm? £5. If you don't want to give £5, just give a couple of pounds, then add 3 more on, and then you'll have £5.
A couple of quibs.
Caroline Weir, unsurprising. She got the 4th. Yikes, she is on fire. They're all on fire. They're all on fire. We need to get some water. They're on fire. That is cheesy. Anyway, I'm gutted because you were watching your Arsenal gals. I'm watching my Manchester City gals.
You're a Manchester City fan?
No. What? That is shut up. Oh my God.
You know what? I feel
Daddy, don't listen to her. Don't listen to the mean American.
I love when you get caught red-handed. I admitted my United fandom. You need to admit your City fandom.
We can't do it. We both missed the game of the weekend, evidently, and we cannot watch any coverage of it yet because we're recording on Sunday night. Everton played Tottenham and it was 3-2 to Everton. I'm so glad that my girl Jill Scott got her first goal back in an Everton shirt for her return.
At a great time too. What a first goal to have.
Oh my God. I loved as well that when she scored, someone ran up to her and I think they were going to lift her up into the air and then realised that she's a giant and it wasn't going to work. And then they kind of switched it around and Jill Scott picked them up in the air. Anyway, it was apparently a really good game. 2 penalty kicks. Govan puts them away. I can't really comment any more on it, but maybe when we do our Patreon, we could bring it up in the next week or so and maybe do some coverage.
Yeah, that'd be really fun. We were disappointed we haven't gotten to see any highlights of the game so far, even though it happened quite a few hours ago. So disappointing that we haven't gotten to see that, but if you do, definitely go check it out. There were 2 penalties in that game, so gotta be something exciting. And a winner by Jill Scott.
Everton now sit in 5th, 4 points behind Arsenal and a game in hand over 6th place Reading, and they face Manchester City next week. So Everton, Jill Scott is going back to Manchester City. Oh, that's going to be exciting.
I love this. Also because Everton, for right now, they're a bit of a week-to-week team. You don't know if they're going to come out and be world-class Everton or potential bottom of the table Everton. And because of that, they actually could be a potential upset for City. So it's going to be a really exciting one. We've got a lot of games next week. This is when the WSL comes back to the bang. So next week's episode, we're going to really get into a lot of WSL, which we're very excited for. But just to highlight the games for next week, next Sunday, we've got United versus Villa, Birmingham City versus Arsenal, Brighton versus Tottenham, West Ham versus Chelsea. That is a top of the table versus a bottom of the table clash. And then on Monday, we've got a game Bristol City versus Reading.
That should be a really good one. I'm excited for that. I think one of the games of the week is going to be Brighton versus Tottenham. There are also some really good games around Europe and the rest of the world next week. So we are super excited for that one. Don't forget to check out Total Football Analysis and use that code, WOSO!
That is 80% off.
80%!
80% off.
Not 80. Have you ever heard anything like that in your life? I've used that data and I genuinely use that data to kind of explore women's football, and that will get you some pretty cool information in the world of women's football. So definitely go check that out.
Yep, and we're excited to really start using that to break down games as we analyze them for you. So check it out. And thank you for listening this week to The WOSO Show. I've been Sarah.
I've been Helen.
Bye, everyone.
Bye!